So I'm joined by Loic Hares, the founder of Resilience Energy. It'd be great if you could just introduce yourself and say a little bit about the story behind Resilience Energy.
Yep. So as you said, my name's Loic. I founded Resilience Energy about 2 years ago now, and our mission really is to bring renewable energy technologies to those who might need it the most in society. So those who might be fuel poor and might not be able to afford renewable energy themselves. Our platform enables different revenue streams to enable that installation of renewable energy on their houses. Our mission as a company really is to reduce fuel poverty and enable the UK as a whole to reach its very challenging carbon reduction targets by 2050. And our platform is a key enabler to that. So what our platform does basically is to connect to large energy using assets within a site. So if that could be solar panels, a battery storage in your house, an EV charger, and electric heating. And it makes sure that all of those assets work together in a way that maximizes either your savings or your revenue to your house or your carbon savings to the house. So we have an algorithm that works in the background that uses weather data just to make sure that everything works together in the best way possible. Lastly, it then enables you to start earning a revenue for saving the planet, which is a great thing in today's society. There's not many occasions where you get paid for saving the planet. So that's one of our main selling points, and we're very proud of it. So what we do is we use the flexibility within your system, your energy system. So in terms of flexibility, we mean extra energy. So if you've got some energy you're not using, and we know you're not using because our algorithm tells us you don't need it yet, we might use that to help the national grid, so the national electricity grid, balance what's going in and what's going out of the grid. We get paid for doing that, and we pass that revenue on to our consumer so that they get a revenue stream for their energy assets.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much. Maybe just one way to kind of explain it or contextualize it. Would it be possible if you could talk through from phase one, i.e. a homeowner or a social landlord who's kind of interested in transitioning towards renewable energy, through to then being able to reduce their cost outputs, and then finally like the direct impact it has in either the tenants or the homeowner or society in general?
So we're actually working on a 80 home pilot project with a social housing provider in Telford, starting in September this year. And this social housing provider has been looking to use renewable energy across their portfolio. They have, I think, 5,000 homes. And their worry in building renewable energy across those 5,000 homes was that it's a lot of individual energy systems to manage, but also they had no direct way of letting their tenants benefit from the energy and actually getting a revenue stream for that energy. So, you know, they had the right intentions, but they wanted to lower their carbon footprint as an organisation. But actually, the business case didn't quite stack up from the word go, because there was no way of monetising the energy being produced by the solar panels and the battery. And that's kind of where our platform came in. We started talking to them via our partner, ASON, the ASON Group, which are looking to sell and install batteries and solar panels. And we explained that by using our platform, all of the energy systems would be connected in one place. So the social housing provider has the ability to monitor every single system installed in one place at house level, street level, or even portfolio level. We notify them if there's any drop in efficiency at each house level. So, you know, if there's an issue, they can proactively manage the maintenance of that system. But also we optimize each individual house. So it's not done on a portfolio level. Our algorithm works per site. So they know that their tenants are going to be getting the most out of that solar and battery system as they possibly can, because our algorithm will be ensuring that. Lastly, our platform enables the social housing provider to measure exactly how much electricity is being used by the social tenants from the solar panels and the battery. We are able to multiply that by a tariff, which is set by the social housing provider, and they tend to set it at 30 to 40% below the rate at which the social housing tenant is importing into their house. So if they're importing at about 16p per kilowatt hour, the social housing provider will charge them about 11 pence per kilowatt hour for the energy used from the solar panels and the battery. So the social housing tenant is able to get about a 30% cut in their energy bills, which is absolutely fantastic. But also that rate can vary from household to household. So if the social housing provider knows that a household is in fuel poverty, where they cannot pay, they have to make choices every winter between heating their home and feeding their family, then they're able to tell us, well, for that household, why don't we cut their energy costs by 80% and make a real difference in that household's life through the winter period. So we give them that flexibility to actually start getting a revenue stream from the assets they've installed in the house. So they benefit from being able to install that renewable energy. The household benefits from a lower energy cost direct to them. And the social housing provider is able to lower their carbon footprint as an organisation because they've installed renewable energy across their portfolio. Lastly, we're able to offer the social housing provider a second revenue stream from aggregating all of our houses together into one big portfolio and then using that flexibility within that portfolio on the open market. And we monetize that flexibility and then pass it back to the social housing provider. So really, we're able to make sure that the business case for renewable energy at a social housing level stacks up with our two revenue streams. It enables the social housing provider to roll out renewable energy across their portfolios, which is great for UK as a whole because the carbon footprint is massively reduced. And thirdly, it helps bring all of those households who might be in fuel poverty out of fuel poverty and stop them having to make decisions between heating their homes and feeding their families. As in 2020, we anybody shouldn't be making those decisions.
Awesome. No, that's great. And what are you working on at the moment, and what's on your kind of immediate horizon as a company?
Yeah, so we're we've got this 80 home project which is starting in September. So we're busy making sure that we're ready for that project. So there's a couple of pieces of technology that we've got to finish for the project. We're also helping a developer down in Cornwall who's looking at a 10 megawatt battery installation, which is absolutely massive. So, Cornwall has got massive problems with constraints across their network due to the amount of solar and wind energy they get on their network. So a 10 megawatt hour battery installation down there could make a really big difference to the actual electricity network in Cornwall. So we're working on that. But we're also launching a product for the renewable energy installer. So the guys that anybody would actually speak to get solar panels and a battery storage installed in their house. So that on point of sale, the installers are able to not only sell solar panels and a battery, they're also able to provide the end consumer with our platform. So it's a great thing for the consumer because they're able to not only benefit from solar energy and storing the energy, but are also able to get a secondary revenue stream from the flexibility within their system. So it might make the business case stack up even more for a homeowner being able to use our platform. So we're launching that in the next, I think, 6 weeks. That's going live. So as an end consumer, if you're a house owner and you're thinking about putting renewable energy technology on your house, you will have the ability to ask your installer, are you able to offer me resilience energy, the resilience energy platform, because I want to benefit from the revenue streams and the optimization engine they offer. So that's our targets for the next few months.
Amazing. It sounds like you've got a lot to keep you busy, but in a very good
As
way.
always.
Yeah. So let's cast our eyes a bit more further now than the next few months and see, like you mentioned, this could operate at a very large scale, but also has the potential to help the UK achieve its ambitious carbon reduction targets. What is your kind of like vision for a renewable energy future, and how can resilience energy play a role in this?
So all of our lifestyles are busy going through a massive change in terms of electricity, because we're facing choices in transport to, we're soon going to be able to use electric buses, electric taxis. We're being pushed by government to own electric cars. From 2025, you'll no longer be able to build a new house in Britain with gas central heating. So more and more of us will be heating our homes with electricity rather than gas. And all of this has a massive impact on our electricity usage and the electricity network. You can imagine that if there's 27 million households in the UK, if they all come, even half of those, if they come back from work at 6 o'clock in the evening and all plug in their electric cars at once, that's going to break the electricity network. It's just not, it hasn't been designed for that volume of electric cars being plugged in at once. Now that's a very extreme situation. It's probably not going to happen, but that's the kind of scenario we're busy planning for at the moment. So there needs to be a level of intelligence across the whole system in order to know when the constraints are in terms of electricity network. So, the local distribution network operators who are in charge of the wires in your streets outside your homes, they need to tell the households, it's okay for you to use electricity between these hours, but between these hours, it's not okay for you to use electricity. And our platform will just do that automatically for the householder. That's where our intelligence fits in. And if we get into the situation in a few years' time where lots and lots of houses and all these social housing portfolios have all got batteries, what the UK national grid will be able to do is actually connect more renewable energy to the network, because they know that the issue they have today is that solar panels and wind are very hard to forecast. We might be able to know when it's going to be windy or when it's sunny, but there's always those cases where it comes out of nowhere and suddenly you've got a megawatt, 2 megawatt of electricity being dumped on the network when nobody was expecting it, and that causes havoc at the national grid level. But if they know they've got 10 million homes spread across the network with batteries installed in them, then that's not so much of a worry for them, because they know that if they have got these sudden inputs of electricity on the network, they can just ask us to start soaking it up into the batteries. So the vision is that when we approach 2050, when the carbon targets are hitting, we'll be in a position where we'll be able to offer the national grid huge amounts of flexibility. They'll be able to install more and more and more renewable energy onto the network, which in the end will enable us to hit those 2050 targets. So I think the future, we're all working on getting to that 2050 target. The government knows that they need to invest a huge amount of money on this side of things, and we're seeing a lot of grants and innovation projects coming through to enable us to hit those targets. But it's not going to be one or two companies. It needs massive change from all of us to get there. So we all need to change our lifestyles. National Grid needs to change the way they're working. DNOs need to change the way they're working, and startups like us need to provide the technology to enable that brighter future for tomorrow.
Awesome, thank you very much. Finally, just do you have any kind of major asks at the moment, or how can people get involved with making a success of resilience energy? Is there any way, whether it's investors, connections, users, homeowners, that kind of stuff?
So, we're, as a startup, we're always looking for, like-minded investors, which is why we were really happy to work with Bethnal Green Ventures, because, they are, their vision of the world is the same as our vision of the world. But, to make this happen, we're going to need more investment over the next year or so. So we're always looking for like-minded investors to join our journey and help our vision come true. We're also looking for users, so large property owners, private landlords, social housing providers, new developers. So if you're looking at building some houses, let's make them green, and and we can help you do that. But just generally, we're just interested in people being interested in us and what we're doing. We've launched a monthly Facebook live page where we just talk about the energy industry and how it can become resilient and greener. So we're having a session this month on grid flexibility, because a lot of people talk about flexibility. We talk about flexibility, and our competitors talk about flexibility, but nobody really understands what that means. So we're going to drill into flexibility and try and explain to the people who aren't working in the energy industry what it actually means and what it could mean to them. So log in, ask us questions. If you've got some burning questions that you've always wondered about the energy industry and that you've never had the answer to, send them in to us, and we'll make sure that we answer those questions in our next Facebook Live event. And we just want people to be generally interested in what we do. That'd be great.
Well, you certainly got one convert. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. And